Hi everyone, welcome to Reading with Reference. My name is Katherine. I'm one of the reference librarians at the Haverford Township Free Library, and today I've got two books I read recently that I'm excited to tell you about. The first is The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwake Amezi. It came out about a month ago, and before that it was on just about every highly anticipated books of 2020 list out there, and for good reason. So the story opens with a one-line chapter. They burned down the market the day Vivek Oji died. What follows is a bittersweet and often heartbreaking story of what happens to all the love you feel for a person after they die, particularly when they die unexpectedly, and what it is to be a person who doesn't quite fit anyone's ideas of who you ought to be. So Vivek is the adored son of a southern Nigerian father, Chika, and an Indian mother, Kavita. But he's always been a little bit different, wanting his hair long and to wear his mother's jewelry. And then there are his mini blackouts, the mini blackouts he sometimes experiences, periods of time where he can't remember what's happened or what he's done. He's often on his own as a result of all this, but he does find connection with the daughters of his mother's fellow Niger wives, women from abroad who have married Nigerian men. And of course there is and always has been his cousin Osita, the person that he's closest to in the world. But after Vivek goes to college, he sinks deep into what seems to be a depressive state, losing far too much weight, growing his hair out past his waist. So his parents bring him home, hoping that with him under their roof, he'll be able to begin to heal. And he does, kind of, but as the title and the first lines suggest, his ending is not a happy one. But the real brilliance of this novel is in how we as readers get to find out what happened and who knows or knew what, and how every character's experience with Vivek is just a little different, and how none of them really add up to the totality of who he was before his death. Amezi identifies as a non-binary person, and there's a lot of that experience that colors Vivek's story and the responses of the people around him. Paired with the setting in Southeast Nigeria, it's a perspective that I don't think I've ever really encountered before, which is one of my favorite things about reading and about fiction, is that you can experience other people's stories in a way you would never really have been able to before. This is such a beautifully written, heartbreaking book. I finished it over the weekend, and I found myself still thinking about it in the days since. And again, that is The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwake Amezi. The second book I want to tell you about today is Night at the Fiestas by Kirsten, Valdez, Quaid. This is a short story collection. It came out a few years ago in 2016. I've had it on my to-read list for a long time, but something this week finally made me pick it up, and I'm really glad that I did. The author's from New Mexico, so almost all of the stories are set there. What I found most interesting about these stories, though, was the way the different identities of the character, as well as the author, sort of merge and intersect and interact with each other. So the majority of the stories center around Latino characters, for example, but several of the narrators are white with Latino characters in the periphery, so you get to see how the two groups sort of interact with each other in that setting. Many of them are also Catholic, and several stories are really focused on that experience, such as The Five Wounds, which follows a man reenacting the crucifixion of Jesus in a passion play, or the pregnant young narrator in Ordinary Sins, who is working in a Catholic church office before her twin babies are born. But Valdez Quaid also grew up near Salt Lake City, and so spent a lot of time as an outsider among the Mormon community there. That experience really shines through in Family Reunion, which was one of my favorites. This really is one of those books where the setting feels like a character in and of itself. The author's descriptions of New Mexico are so vivid, and it seems to influence the people living there as much as their interactions with any of the other actual human characters. I don't read a whole lot of short story collections, although I've slowly been getting back into them, and this one really reminded me of how great and how enjoyable they can be. Plus, the story I mentioned before, The Five Wounds, is set to become a full-length novel by the same title next year, which is super exciting because I felt like I wanted longer with all of the stories and characters Valdez Quaid has created here. I'm really looking forward to that one and highly recommend Night at the Fiestas in the meantime. So, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you're reading something good for this week and this weekend. Thanks again. Take care. Bye.